Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I thought I'd talk about Murphy Anderson, and that's whose art you see on the cover there. The focus of this presentation, this video, will be on Murphy Anderson, and principally his work for DC and Hawkman. This is the Atom number 7, and it features cover art by Gil Kane, inked by Murphy Anderson. So let me talk about Murphy Anderson. He was born in 1926 and he died in October 27, 2015. He was 89. Anderson was a comic book artist who worked mainly for DC Comics for over 50 years. He worked on a number of comic book characters, including Hawkman, Batgirl, the Spectre, and Superman. And with writer Gardner Fox, he created Zatanna, the daughter of the Golden Age magician Zatara, who made her first appearance in the pages of Hawkman in 1964. He also worked on the daily syndicated strip Buck Rogers from 1947 to 49, right after artist Dick Calkins left the writing and the drawing of the strip in 1946. And comic book historian Joe Brancatelli in Maurice Horn's World's Encyclopedia of Comics noted that Anderson's work on the Buck Rogers strip was the best of the strip's run. He also noted that Anderson's work on Hawkman with Joe Kubert made the strip one of the finest illustrated comic strips of the 1960s. So we'll look chronologically. If you've seen previous videos, I've shown you the Brave and the Bold issues of Hawkman, his first appearance in the Silver Age. And this, after the appearances in Brave and the Bold, he appeared sporadically, first in Atom, in the Atom comic strip, and then in Mystery in Space. And we'll go through all chronologically all of the artwork that Murphy Anderson did on and about Hawkman. All right, so this is an Atom issue, obviously, with Hawkman. This is their first appearance of Hawkman alongside the Atom. And so we'll go through and just focus on the artwork. And right away you see Gil Kane's anatomy there. And you see art by Gil Kane, story by Gardner Fox. Gardner Fox's stories were really heavily focused on plot rather than character. He really left it up to the artist to flesh out the character. And right away, if you look carefully at this page, you can see the very fine ink work of Murphy Anderson. Anderson's ink work was very influenced by his own admission by the work of Alex Raymond and his work on the space opera series of Flash Gordon. So right away you see more of Murphy Anderson, at least I do, than I see of Gil Kane. This is one issue I have. So this came out in June, July of 1963, prior to Hawkman's appearance in Mystery in Space. And you can see it's traditional panels, but you can see by the artwork, I think one of the things that both Gil Kane and Murphy Anderson favored is the narrow panels to tell the story continuity. And there's the letters page. Some very famous fans wrote in an excellent shot of Hawkman. This is a long story that they featured, and you can see the space opera elements that was prevalent in most of Gardner Fox's stories. Seems like he was, and there's the cover art you see there, and the very fine detail of machinery. Alright, so that's that. That is the after he left Brave and the Bold, the appearance of Hawkman in the pages of The Atom. The Case of the Cosmic Camera. Alright. And then Hawkman began his appearance in Mystery in Space, and he is featured on the cover. Mystery in Space was an anthology book that featured Adam Strange, that you see here. This looks like to be the artwork of Gil Kane, the Gil Kane inked by Carmine Infantino. Possibly Carmine Infantino. And I'm just going through this without the artist credits. So, and this is Murphy Anderson, The Amazing Theft of the IQ Gang. Yeah, this is all Murphy Anderson. You can tell by the fine detailed on the faces of the main characters. There you go. Amazing Theft of the IQ Gang. You see again the narrow panels for story continuity to fill in the pages. Heavy on text, but like I said, more heavy on plot. The use of foreground and background, the respect for the reader that many of the Silver Age artists have, in particular this fellow, Murphy Anderson. Alright, so we come to the end. So that's Mystery in Space, number 87. This is Mystery in Space, number 88. And the Robot Wraith, the Robot Wraith of Ran. And if you've read subsequent stories of Hawkman, you'd know that Ran and Thanagar figure in many of the stories in the DC universe, and many of the animated stories presented in animated series on television. There's the narrow use of paneling. That's, I believe, the work of Carmine Infantino. And we turn now to Topsy Turvy Day in Midway City. And this is a Murphy Anderson, Gardner Fox story. Beautiful work. Simple stories aimed at a young audience, but the artwork was, again, always respectful of the people who would, the young people who would buy the books. All right, so that's that. That's issue number 88. And this is issue number 89. Again, cover art here is by Murphy Anderson. The High-Flying Adventure, the Super Motorized Menace. This is from February of 1964. Excellent artwork. Good continuity. Inventive use of paneling. And there's your cover. All focused on plot and adventure. The artist was left with the chore of fleshing out the characterization. And there's the bad guy looking bad. And this is an Adam Strange, Gardner Fox, or Robert Kanigher, Carmine Infantino story. The look of Adam Strange was actually created in these pages by Murphy Anderson, according to Les Daniels. Now, Anderson started working for comic books as far back as the 1940s, and most of his work was actually space opera related type work for companies like Fiction House. So in 1960, so that's number 89, Mystery in Space. In 1960, and this is an interesting cover. This is a cover of Adam Strange, obviously, and it's a famous cover that was eventually homaged by Jim Steranko in his Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, which I'll show right here. And but it's a interesting, very space opera related cover. It's a beautiful cover, work by Murphy Anderson. And there you have Adam Strange co-starring Hawkman in Planets in Peril for the first time. This is from March 1964. So the one thing he created, as I was saying, 1960, he started working for DC, and he created a series called The Atomic Knights, which first appeared in the pages of Strange Adventures number 117. The series lasted for 15 stories, all done by Anderson. And according to him, I mean, he was doing it obviously for work, for money, but at the same time, it was one of his more favorite series that he did for DC. Now, Les Daniels, who wrote also for a book called Comics, and I'll show it here as I continue flipping through the pages of Mystery in Space. This is Les Daniels, and it's a famous book with incredible reprints of some of the old EC books, and in color and in black and white, and some of the books by great artists like Wally Wood. Alright, so that's that. Now, Les Daniels said that his work on Hawkman is some of the best. He said Anderson came into his own with his elegantly ornamental version of the Winged Wonder. He considers this to be Anderson's finest work as a comic book draftsman. And the images, like the images you see here, it is quite spectacular work, actually. just fine attention to a detail and respectful of the young audience that these comic books were created for. Let's see, letters page. All right, and there's that cover image. So that's Mystery in Space 90. And eventually Hawkman got his own magazine, the cover art here by Murphy Anderson. It's not considered his best work, but nonetheless it is the #1. And this was from May 1964, April-May 1964. And again, you see some of the replay scenes of previous appearances. Flashbacks. Alright, and that's that one. And then the story begins in earnest. Rivalry of the Winged Wonders. It starts with duck hunters, I guess. And this is an anthology book, so it features 2 stories. And let's see who the letter writers are. Nobody I recognize. Anyway, this is Master of the Sky Weapons. And you have a story that takes place in South America. Fascinating story, and it's the cover story basically. Again, the narrow use of panels, respect for detail. The coloring is excellent. Alright, so that's that one. This is Hawkman #1. And this issue is a foreign edition, I think from the UK. And it features this story, Secret of the Sizzling Sparklers. Beautiful splash page, showcasing action, and again you see the fine detail work of Murphy Anderson. Somebody could draw aliens like he could. It's amazing how much plot. There's the cover art. It's amazing how much plot Gardner Fox could come up with. Like story after story. To express the creativity. And for an artist to draw constantly creative panels, panel by panel. Incredible work of art. There's no other way to describe it. Alright, so that's that one. That's issue #2. Then we have issue #4. The Birds in the Gilded Cage. This is from August-September 1964. This is issue #3. The Fear That Haunted Hawkman. And that's one of the things I liked about the series, was the use of ancient mythology, which is one of the things that Gardner Fox seemed to focus on in his stories. Economical use of paneling. There's creativity. Followed by, see who the writers are. Not sure. Birds in the Gilded Cage, and this is the cover story. Like in the Golden Age, Hawkman could communicate with birds. There you go. So that's issue number 3. And followed by this issue, number 4. And this is from October, November 1964. The Girl Who Split in Two. And this is the first appearance of Zatanna in DC Comics. The art, Murphy Anderson. Story, Gardner Fox. There you go. And they discover the Zatanna, and that's the first panel appearance, aside from the front, of course, of Zatanna. The Girl Who Split in Two. And there, finally, when they join her together, she tells the story of Zatara. And this is Zatara's first appearance in the Silver Age. First panel appearance. That's her father. All right. And I don't know the stories. Does it say? And then we have The Machine That Magnetized Men. And there's that famous coin that appears in many of the ads in comic books. The US $5 gold piece. Here you go. So that's that. That's number 4, and then we have number 5, the reappearance of the Shadow Thief. Steel, Shadow, Steel. And this is a good copy. The story's intact. And it's split. Staples split from the book. And there's Carl Sands, aka the Shadow Thief, one of the major villains in DC and Hawkman continuity. Origin retold. Is drawn by, he really fleshes out the character. You can see where, as you can see in the faces of the characters, Gardner Fox's stories really depended on the artist for characterization development. flip the pages carefully, otherwise I'll pop the staple. And there's Hawkman and Hawkwoman. And this is the second Silver Age appearance of the Shadow Thief. Beautifully drawn. There's the narrow panels again. Alright, what's that? It's number 5. It's one delicate book. And then we have number 6. This is The World Where Evolution Ran Wild. Interesting cover. The art, or the coloring, makes the art pop. World Where Evolution Ran Wild. A strange story. Aside from the narrow paneling, the panels were quite conventional. In many ways, Anderson is a highly quality-oriented artist, but as you can see, every panel seems to pop. He knows how to use his artwork just to engage the reader. So, narrow panels, flashbacks, and a lot of the issues have this, all about birds. You want to know about birds, bird watchers? Just check out the pages of Hawkman, if you can find the issues. And now we come to Hawkman number 7, featuring Attack of the Crocodile Men. And another story, the return of the IQ Gang, the amazing return of the IQ Gang. If you remember the IQ Gang in the pages of Mystery in Space. And the narrow panels for story continuity. Characterization through the images. And excellent action scenes. Just crazy stuff, but just beautiful to look at. For those of us who enjoy how to read and enjoy comic books. Part of the collecting of comic books is, as I've said in previous episodes, this is Attack of the Crocodile Men. There's the Egyptian theme that you'd see in a lot of Gardner Fox's work. Is I think the story continuity and the artists, collecting the work of the artists. Murphy Anderson is one of the finest artists in comic book lore. So we're going to go up to issue 21. So right now we're through issue 7. So if you want to enjoy the pages, you can stick with us till the end. So that's number 7. And this is number 8. And the giant golden mask. Cover art, as one could only imagine the artists. This is Murphy Anderson cover art. That's just very imaginative artwork. Interior, again, Murphy Anderson. Giant in the golden mask. It's an odd story. And elements of fantasy with ancient. One of the things that Gardner Fox seemed to appreciate right from the beginning was this connection with lost lore and lost ancient history. All right. There you go. And that's an interesting use of paneling to highlight the action and to let the story flow. The thing about these books is that the center page, the centerfold tended to pop. And so collecting them in good conditions is a fun chore, but a hard chore sometimes. When you're trying to collect, you want to make sure that the centerfold and the staples are intact. If you're a collector that values the quality of a book, this is a beautiful use of paneling with Hawkman on the side there, telling the story. Just beautiful stuff. All right, so that's near the end of this story. So that's issue number 8, The Giant in the Golden Mask. 9, as the Master Trap of the Matter Master. And of course, the Matter Master first appeared in the Brave and the Bold issues. Cover art and interior art by Murphy Anderson. And there he is in jail. Just like in the IQ Gang issue. They break out of jail somehow. Takes a lot of creativity to be able to tell that kind of story. That's a great, he's one of the major villains. And this is what I mean by characterization. Just in the facial expressions of the villains and heroes in the stories. That's the Matter Master. Being outwitted by Hawkman and Hawkwoman with the help of the Atom. All right. That's number 9. And we have, this is the first appearance of Ka, criminalization of the criminal alliance of the world. Hawkman clips the claws of Ka, C-A-W. And we have this mysterious character appearing. Paneling, interesting. A very versatile supporting character. And lo and behold, guess who it is? In the Magic Mirror Mystery. And that's a nod, I think, to a famous science fiction story about a mirror that can hold on to ancient time. Forget the name of the story. There's the mirror, the continuity. I'd say just for the most part, Anderson sticks to traditional paneling, comic book paneling, unless he wants to present a long dialogue. Excellent. Gardner Fox, The Criminal Alliance of the World, Caw. And then we have issue number 11. Issue number 11. The Shrike Strikes at Night. It's the first appearance of this guy, the Shrike. And this is a very rough copy. The first appearances, even of minor villains, tend to have value. And it's noteworthy that many of the villains in the Hawkman stories could fly, mainly because who could fight against the superhero except for flying villains. I'm just flipping it this way so I don't pop the staples. So there you go, the continuity, the detail. Just amazing what those artists did in the Silver Age. Part of collecting is the value of Silver Age books, but also appreciating how artists and some of the Silver Age comic books are undervalued. Alright, so that's number 11. This is number 12. This is the Million-Year-Long War. Oh yes. And this is from Gardner Fox, Murphy Anderson. A similar story was told in the, this is from February-March 1966. A similar story was recounted in a Star Trek episode about these two people of different races fighting each other, almost like an eternal war. Interesting story. This is the Spectre, and I believe that's the first appearance, I think. Yeah. And the first appearance of Spectre in the pages of Showcase was in the Silver Age, qualified that, was by Murphy Anderson. A Bird in the Hand. There you go. Another bird ad. And the Million-Year-Long War, Part 2. Traditional space opera in many ways. You can see where people like George Lucas got his inspiration from these books. You could see it in the pages of Green Lantern too. And there you have flashback told in the rounded panels. And letters page. right. So I hope I know this is kind of long, but I hope you're enjoying it. This is number 12. And this is number 13. And there's that famous checkerboard, one of the brainchilds of DC publishers. Quest of the Immortal Queen. And I believe that's her first appearance in comic books. Again, a winged antagonist to match Hawkman and Hawkwoman. Beautiful splash pages. Look at that. Picturesque. And you have this beautiful, almost a fantasy scene with flashback. Beautiful stuff. Using a lot of imagination. Vikings. The Immortal Queen, Part 3. Quest of the Immortal Queen. And there's a traditional 6 panels. And there's the end. Oh, don't see any familiar names. So that's that one. That's Hawkman number 13. This is in good condition, but the story is intact. And this is number 14. And who are we? Who are we? It's the Caw people again. The Treasure of the Talking Head. Story Gardner Fox, art Murphy Anderson. Again, one of the ancient lore flashback. Just going to hold it in case it pops the center staple. Interesting story. One of the features of his artwork and the storyline of Gardner Fox is the background, kind of ancient lore mythology that he brings into the stories. Of course, in the origin pages, you can see it in the pages of Secret Origins if you want to know the origin of Hawkman from this golden age. And it always had that. It was created by Dennis Neville and Gardner Fox. There you see it. In panels like this, for instance. It was a favorite theme of Fox's stories. All right. The Talking Head. Interesting story. These are all representative of international members of Caw. All right. And so it ends with the bad guys all upset. All right. That's number 14. And here's another rough copy. And this is number 15. Hurry, 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 Hawkman. This is Scourge of the Human Race. Oh, yes. Interesting story. This is like a Rodan type story of a monster who kind of comes out of the ancient past. He was hiding deep, deep in the ocean. Godzilla, not Rodan, Godzilla. Just careful about the flipping of the pages. The Scourge of the Human Race, Part 3. How's that for a splash page? Look at that. You see Godzilla destroying the city. It's not Godzilla though. It's Makar. An interesting monster. A major villain who has to fight, that Hawkman and Hawkwoman have to fight off. So there it ends. This is number 15. This is from August, September 1966. And then we have number 17. Oops, this is number 17. Sorry. It goes 16 first and then 17. This is 16. And then we have The Lord of the Flying Gorillas. How's that for a title? And an advert for the movie, the Batman movie from 1966, I believe. This is October, November 1966. And there's a nod to, again, ancient lore. One of the favorite themes of Gardner Fox. And there's some science fiction, space opera elements. You can see here how the staples have popped. One of the hazards of collecting, you always have to look for the centerfold. There's your Space Ghost. Interesting, beautiful splash page. That continues. Beautiful, colorful splash page. Gardner Fox at his best. All right. Lord of the Flying Gorillas, Part 3. How's that for a splash page? Wonderful stuff. And there's the villain. All right, so that's that. Don't recognize any of the... All right, so that's issue number 16. This is issue 17. Wow, that's a splash page. Nice cover. I don't see how that could have made the cover though, with that skull in the background. That's the Roost of the Robbing Raven. Surprised that made the comics code. Even the cover. Nice book. There you go. So there it goes. There goes the Robbing Raven. The Enigma of the Escape-Happy Jewel Thieves. How's that for a simple story? A lot of the stories that were written back in the 60s by DC Comics in particular featured these simple villains who were out to steal things. And basically thieves. Very few of them were like murderers trying to kill people. One a classic example, of course, is the Shadow Thief. Anyway, so these are just simple villains. Still, what makes the story is the artwork. All right. So that's number 17. Number 18, with a guest appearance by his friend Adam Strange. And that's the Manhawks. If you remember them from the Brave and the Bold books. They return. Oh, how's that for a haunting image? The World That Vanished. Great story. Narrow paneling. What do we have? I always look at the writers in the letters page to see who the writers are. There's a splash page. This one's a nicely bound, tightly bound comic. And there's some posters of the Batman villains. You must go for a mint. All right, Hawkman's Roost, the letters page. World That Vanished, Chapter 3. So that's that. I think I had one of these. Let's see. I think I had one of these. Anyway, so that's number 18. And this is number 19. Parasite Planet Peril. Parasite Planet Peril. Wow. Giant space web. And there goes Hawkman. So it almost ends. Or will it end? And there's Hawkman under control, and then what happens? And there's a flashback. Oh wow, here's the Green Hornet. Black Beauty. It's worth more than 98 cents now. So that's Parasite Planet Peril. All right. It's good to get these in color and flip through the original books. There's lots of good reprints, but it's not the same. It'll never be the same. This is number 20. This is the Lion Mane, the Taboo Menace. Death of the Living Flame. This is from June, July of 1967. Wow, interesting story. Look at that. Again, ancient lore. Just going to hold the other side. So flip through the pages. Yeah. Lialoha. He looks familiar. And Lion Mane, the Taboo Menace. Lion Mane. So there he is. It's an intelligent creature. And there he is, fairly restored. What will we see in the next issue of Hawkman? Alright. So that's number 20. And this is the last Hawkman issue done by Gardner Fox. This is Hawkman number 21. A different writer and artist took over the final issues, 22 to 27. This is from August-September 1967, number 21, Attack of the Jungle Juggernaut. And there's the Lone Ranger. And Lion Mane strikes again. It's a 2-issue series. All right. And Hawkman and Hawkwoman have their hands full fighting off this guy. Beautiful story. There you go. Made for the cover art, I should say the coloring is made for this type of paper. And that's that. So that's number 21. So that's the last issue of the Hawkman continuity. I thought I'd show the first appearance of just this part of the Adam Hawkman series. The first appearance of the Gentleman Ghost. Cover art here is by Joe Kubert. One of his best. And the following issue is even better. And the interior art is Murphy Anderson. Should I show this because this is the first Silver Age appearance of the Gentleman Ghost as drawn by Murphy Anderson. And I believe, yeah, Robert Kanigher wrote the story. There you have a beautiful splash page and a beautiful panel of the first Silver Age appearance of the Gentleman Ghost. There's the clock. It's something that appears in the Silver Age, Golden Age stories. And that's the Atom. Alright, so that's that one. And last but not least, this is issue number 44. No use struggling, Hawkman. This tomb will be your home for the next 1,000 Years. Beautiful cover by Joe Kubert. And interior art, of course, Murphy Anderson, story about Canada. Alright, so this is the origin of the Gentleman Ghost. Gentleman Jim Craddock. Excellent artwork. Always a mystery, this villain. And there it ends. And then you have the Atom. The great Atom. Okay, so that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation and looked through one of the great artists of the Silver Age and his work in the actual comic books. Not in the reprints, but the actual comic books of Hawkman. Alright, so if you did, remember to give me that like. Thanks everyone for your subscriptions. The channel continues to grow. And this is a long video, so take your time with it and enjoy it whenever you have time. Okay, thanks. Bye. Oh, and always comments. They're always helping the channel. Okay, thanks. Bye.